The last couple of decades, there has been a growing interest in ancient crystal skulls. The most famous crystal skull, which is as big as a human skull, was discovered by Anna Mitchell-Hedges, daughter of the archeologist Anna Mitchell-Hedges, while exploring the ruins of a Mayan city in British Honduras, or Belize. When the skull was found, the Mayans became very excited and celebrated for days. Day after day, more and more Mayans came to the place of discovery to see and venerate this mysterious object. It was obviously something sacred to them, so F.A. Mitchell-Hedges decided to give the skull to the Mayan people. When the archaeological work was over, the Mayans gave the skull back. Since then, it has been in the hands of Anna, who has shown the skull numerous times to interested people in order to share this wonderful object with others. The Mitchell-Hedges skull is a masterpiece of art. It was made from one piece of clear crystal, but the lower jaw is a separate piece and removable. The skull shows all the details of a normal human skull. It seems to have been made without the aid of metal tools because of the absence of typical scratches metal tools make. Laboratory tests tell us that it is impossible to duplicate this skull with modern equipment. One reason is that it is made with the total disregard to the axis of the crystal. Cutting crystal with disregard to the axis normally results in the shattering of the crystal, unless you have special equipment. Also, there are optical lenses inside the skull which produce a particular light phenomenon. Light is channeled from the base of the skull into the excavated eye sockets by a set of concave and convex lenses built into the skull. If a fire or a light is placed underneath the skull, its eyes will flicker with intense light. There is another full-size crystal skull around. It is in the British Museum of Mankind in London, England. It was found at the end of the last century in Mesoamerica. This one is not as detailed as the Mitchell-Hedges skull, but it is also a wonderful piece of art. The entire skull is made from one piece of crystal. That is, the lower jaw is not detachable. In the Musée de l'Homme in Paris, France, another smaller, primitive crystal skull is on display for visitors. This one was also found in Mesoamerica at the beginning of the 19th century. This skull was probably made by the Mayans. Other crystal skulls have since appeared. The origin of the crystal skulls are unclear. The British and the Paris skulls are referred to as Aztec, but there is no proof of this. Some of the skulls could have been made by the Mayans, but the more sophisticated skulls, like the Mitchell-Hedges skull, were made by sophisticated means. Carbon-14 dating does not work with crystal, so there is no scientific way of dating the skulls. Psychics who have worked with the skulls and have read the energies stored in them tell us that some of the skulls date from the Atlantean period. Atlantis was a mighty civilization believed to have existed from approximately 300,000 to 12,000 years ago. Much of it sank in what is now known as the Atlantic Ocean. Although the Atlanteans used crystal skulls in their temples, there are different stories about how the skulls were made. Edgar Cayce, 1877 to 1945, also called the Sleeping Prophet, who was known for his accurate psychic readings, mentioned the level of technology in Atlantis. He said that the Atlanteans had great crystals that condensed light in a particular way and sent energy out to outlying home devices, as well as to ships or vehicles moving in the air, the water, and even the earth. Their technology was not limited to transport crafts, but also included photography at a distance, reading inscriptions through walls at a distance, overcoming gravity, and so on. Other sources mention that the Atlanteans also had vehicles which they could travel into outer space. These vehicles seem not to have been made by the Atlanteans themselves, but by extraterrestrials, with whom the Atlanteans had connections with. The owner of the amethyst skull, a Mayan priest, said that the amethyst crystal from which the skull was made had grown on another planet. This is not a unique statement about the outer space origin of the skulls. When I once showed a picture of the Mitchell-Hedges skull to the Hungarian shaman Joska Seuss, he said that this skull was not made on Earth, but outside in space. Psychics say that some of the skulls come from other planets and others were made here on Earth by extraterrestrials, whether or not in collaboration with Atlantean scientists. Some smaller skulls have been made by Mayans in later times in an attempt to imitate the ancient crystal skulls. One of the images that always turns up when people look into these skulls are UFOs. Psychics continually link the crystal skulls not only to extraterrestrials, but also to intraterrestrials and other dimensional beings. Sometimes it is stated that the skull creators, or the beings who are still working through the crystal skulls, are non-physical beings residing in the ethereal realms. Intraterrestrials are also mentioned, but it is not always clear if they are physical beings residing in an underground world, or if they are ethereal beings living in another dimension situated inside the Earth. The intraterrestrials are very concerned about the well-being of the entire planet, and through the crystal skulls they are trying to make us more aware of our responsibility for the planet and our own evolution. These beings are often seen by psychics while gazing into the skulls. They say that they resemble beings described by certain UFO contactees. The crystal skulls have the ability to open consciousness of people who work with them. Actual physical contact is not necessary. People have reported contacts that were made by having only a picture of a crystal skull. Contacting the skulls also results in entering inner space, where the unconscious becomes more accessible, and one can explore hidden potentials in oneself. One may then enter inner realms linked to dimensions in which beings related to the crystal skulls are living. In short, working with the crystal skulls or with pictures of them, one can contact these non-human beings. Contacting other beings through the crystal skulls is not the only function they have. The skulls are also considered to be a kind of computer in which information and knowledge was recorded by people who worked with them in ancient times. Great knowledge can thus be derived from the skulls, although it is stated that our present civilization is not ready yet to receive all the information stored in the skulls. The skulls also contain images of the ages which have passed since their creation. Psychics see past civilizations and events in the skulls. For example, the destruction of Atlantis and the struggle between good and evil forces to have the crystal skulls in their possession. If you guys enjoyed this video and want to see more like it, please consider subscribing to us and hitting the like button. Feel free to leave a comment below and suggest which theory you would like to see next. If you would like to further support this channel, please consider heading to our Patreon found in the description box below and subscribing there. We appreciate your support, and as always, thanks for watching.